What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Adrenaline Motorsports and RCs. Thank you for coming back and watching. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button and subscribe. Today's episode, I have a project that I have been wanting to start for a long time. In the past couple months, I have been talking about this project, and it is finally time to start this project. So enough of me blabbing around and telling you that I'm ready to start this project and all that. Let's just go on ahead and talk about what we're doing. So this is the body that I'm going to be doing. This is my next project. I do have an extra light to put on here. I want to try to find some mirrors. I want to try to find some mirrors to put here on both sides. Funny thing about this body is I actually found this this whole truck. It was an RC in the trash, and I actually grabbed it, and I kept the body for a couple years now. So let me show you guys what chassis I'm going to use. Let me show you guys what I'm going to be using to make this RC. So the chassis that I'm going to be using for this is actually a G-made sawback. I have a feeling I'm not going to use this front end here, because with that, it actually makes it, you guys can see it actually makes it too long. I'm actually going to have to cut the back end of the chassis here. Let me move this camera down so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm talking about here. I'll just move the camera right there. Here you go for you. So what I'm going to have to do is, you guys can see the front bumper here. That's for the sawback. I'm actually going to have to take this off so I can get this chassis to somewhat sit in here perfectly. As you guys can see right there, I think where the shock mounts are, alright, right where they have to be. I'm just going to have to do something different with the shocks. Maybe might have to do something different with the shocks. I still haven't figured out what shocks I'm going to be using for this yet, but as of right now, this is the chassis that I'm going to use for this. So that is that. The second thing, actually, I'm going to leave this right here. I'm going to move this chassis out the way, because I got to do some cutting and some fabrication with that. The transmission that I'm going to be using is actually you guys can see right there, it's the G-made Komodo transmission. It actually brings the pinion gear for it, which is a nice little touch. I don't have to figure out what transmission I'm going to use. More than likely, the motor that I'm going to use, I'm probably going to use this 550 motor that I actually had for the Red Cat Raptor, but turns out that the pinion gear kept on slipping on this, so it wasn't working. I had to cut it down. But as I'm looking at the pinion gear that comes with this, it might end up working with this motor. So I'm going to try out this motor. If not, then if I have to buy another motor, then hey, I have to buy another motor. One thing I'm excited about is I actually bought the tires for it. These are 1.55s. I think they're like 72 or 78 millimeters or something like that, and they just fit perfectly. I am really excited about the tire. I actually got the right size tire where it, pretty much that's where I want it to be. That's pretty much where I want the tire to be. Oh, here we go. 7825 R15.5. So they kind of try to make it seem like it was a 15 tire, but as you guys can see, that's pretty much where I want the tire to be at, which works out perfectly. I did order the wheels for it, and I went with these right here. These are the real wheels that I went with. Come on, focus, focus, focus. There you go. These are the wheels that I went with. I got these off of eBay. I actually ordered these off of eBay. These things got some weight to it. My wife got home from work and I was like, yo, hold on to this box. This is how they come. This is how the wheels come, like this. And I told my wife, hold on to this. She's like, yeah, it's got some weight to it. They're aluminum, but they got some weight. They're pretty heavy. So these are the wheels that I'm going to be using. Sorry. These are the wheels that I'm going to be using for this. They're 155s. The tires are 155s. So I think that, you know, it's going to look, I think it's going to look awesome with this. The biggest thing that I have that I'm going to try to make work is the axles that I ordered for it. The axles that I ordered for this project are MST axles. I was trying to get, how am I going to put this? I was trying to get an axle that was going to work with this body. I was looking at axial SCX10 axles, Element Enduro, the Element Enduro Sandero axles, and they were just going to be way too wide for this build. So what I ended up doing was I bought this right here from, move this body. So I bought this right here. I got it from RCMart. Believe it or not, this package actually took about 2 months and a half, almost 3 months for me to receive this. Basically because of the whole coronavirus. Yeah. Because of this whole coronavirus pandemic, this box right here took me 2.5 to 3 months to get for these axles. So as you guys see, it's got the front. Okay, sorry. It's got the front. It's got the rears. And these axles here, we actually have to put them together. Which is nice. I have to put these together. So that's something that I'm going to be working on. Let me move this, adjust it, so you guys see. Yeah, you don't. So again, like I was saying, I was looking at axles to see which ones would work perfectly for this build. Now, I was looking at all types of axles, and all the axles that I checked out, they were too wide for the application that I needed. For this certain application with this body, every other axles that I checked out were just way too wide. They were just way too wide, and they weren't going to work for what I needed. So I found these axles, and it turned out that they work the size that I needed. So I'm just temporarily putting this together just to show. But basically, that's, whoa. Once I put the wheels on, okay, here's the axle right there. Once I put the wheels on here, it's not going to stick out way too much. So that is awesome. The one thing I still got to do, I'm actually going to put these together. I'm actually going to put these together, so we will be back after I put these together, because I know you guys don't want to see me sitting here scrambling trying to put this together. So the other thing I got to do is, which is going to be kind of cool, is going to be try to get these axles to sit with this chassis, which is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I'm basically Frankensteining this chassis here. Try to make it work. The other thing I got to try to do is see. The other thing I got to try to see is how I'm going to, what drive shafts I'm going to be able to use. If I have to Frankenstein some drive shafts, hey, I have to Frankenstein some drive shafts. I got to make this work somehow. So the one thing I do realize that this brings is some stuff for links. So you guys can see right here. This whole kit, the MST sends, is absolutely awesome, guys. You got full ball bearings. You guys can see right here. It's got full ball bearings, screws separated where you need them. Lockers on here. There's some lockers in here. I mean, guys, this is pretty badass the way they have this all set up. I will say. I mean, you got your pins, your screws, everything all separated. The way the MST has this kit, I have to tell you, this kit is like, wow. So here's the rod. This actually goes in the rear axle. It's just one straight rod that has a couple holes, as you guys can see right there. It's got a couple holes to where everything connects to. So this is basically the length of the rear axle. That's going to sit back here. As you guys can see, where it sits is actually perfect. I mean, these axles are just perfect for this application. It's basically where I'm at right now. So, yeah. Again, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start putting these together and go from there. But I'm basically going to put this together and see you guys in a bit. Alright, so far I've gotten the front drive shaft assembled. I will show you when I go to do the rear. I'll show you how the gearing and everything gets installed here. But so far, this is the front. I still got to put the still got to put these on in the front here. There's still a couple things. There's still a couple things that I need to do for the front. But as of right now, this is where I'm at. So I'm going to continue working on this, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I finally got the front all assembled, so you guys can see here. Put these on. It has these clips that hold the hold the pin. As you guys can see, there's a pin in there, and they have these clips that actually hold it all together. There is a set screw, as you guys can see right in there. Sorry about the lighting, guys, but right in here, let's see if, right in there, there's a set screw. So if I spin this the other way, see that you can see the pin in there, right? But now I turn it right there, there's a set screw that's holding that pin in place. Even though this does have these axles do have this clip on here. So for basically the fronts, that's it. This is basically it for the fronts. There is a thing here that I'm able to mount the servo on top. So with this right here, just like that, I'd be able to mount the servo on top, but I'm not mounting the servo on top of the axles. The servo is actually going to get mounted on the chassis, so this is not going to be used here in this application. So yeah, that's basically where we're at right now. So that's it for the fronts. Now I'm going to put together the rears, and I will show you guys how the rears gets installed with the drive shaft and all that. So let's go on ahead and do this. So I'm looking at the instructions here, and I am going to need the bevel gear. I leave everything in the bag until I'm ready to use it. So this ball joint goes on there. I'm not doing that yet. I do need the bevel gear, and I'm going to need the shaft, the bevel gear shaft here. So the bevel gear shaft, as you guys can see, it has cutouts in there for the bevel shaft to go in. That's going in just like so. And it brings a little screw that is basically going to go right in here. See, I have to screw my hand. Basically going to go like that. Get my little tool. If that would stay in there for me, that'd be nice. And screw that bad boy in. Just like so. And yeah, so far that's what we got. So now we have that, these two. This is the locker that it brings. And a 36 tooth gear. So what we're going to need now for this one is the shaft here. So this is a whole solid axle for the rear end. This is taking these two little clips here, these little pins, this ball bearing is going on this one like so, and there's another one that goes on this side. Now before we put this ball bearing here, what I want to do is I want to get these screws in, so that way they're basically not in my way as I'm screwing down, putting these screws in, because that's what was actually happening to me on the first one. Was on the front axles was the screws that God, this ball bearing here was actually in my way, so I had to pull it back off to be able to put these screws in to tighten everything up. So we'll do this, put these 3 in here, and we shall go on ahead and start screwing these in. There you go, it's tight. Let's go on ahead and tighten all these up. And once I feel that they are tight, I don't go ahead and crank them all the way. I'll give it, I'm guessing, finger tight. You don't want to keep, because this is plastic here. This bit right here is plastic, so you don't want to keep tightening and tightening and tightening until it strips. Because once that strips, then you have nothing to hold on to. And there we go. So this bad boy is tightened up. So now we'll grab this ball bearing, and I will put this ball bearing in here and get this drive, get the casing. Now this does bring grease, so we already have this set up. We'll open up this here. We have to grab this ball bearing, stick that on there like so, put that right on the inside like that, make sure it sits in there perfectly. As you guys can see, that's perfect. Then you grab another ball bearing here and you put that right in the back there, and you sit it all the way in like so. So that's, you have a nice connection there. Now what this is saying to do is put some grease on. So this actually brings some black grease, not much, bring some. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dab some in here. Then this, make sure you put this in the right way. Actually, and you can see that the grease just starts getting onto it. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add more grease to it before I close this up. I'm going to add more grease on, so that way I know for a fact that this is going to be nice and greasy and I'm not going to have any issues with it. So stay tuned. I'm going to see what else I need to do to get this bad boy going. So actually, I'm looking at the instructions and it's calling for some clips that we have here that I slowly have to get out of this bag. Let's get that out of the way. So it brings these two. Then I'm going to put that there. So let's flip this page. I can add more grease onto this, and I can put the casing on. So that should be good. So we're going to go on ahead and put the casing on like so. I'm going to grab some screws here. I wish I kind of had a mat, magnetic mat, to be able to put all these screws on. Unfortunately, I don't have one. Okay. So, now that that's on, I could put these clips, have like these C clips right here that go on the axle here. Alright, so I need those pliers here, and we can finally put this on. Squeeze. And there's one in. And let's get on to the other one. There we go. So we got those clips in, buddies. I'm gonna want to grab these and just slide them right on in, just like that, and boom. Grab the other one here, slide it on, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The rear axle's set up. So I'm not putting the pin in for the hex yet, because I don't want it to be too loose and I end up losing it, and that'll be bad. That'll be very bad. So I don't want to do all that. So two 4 screws. One is going here. Grab my trusty little driver here. There's one. These are just the screws that are actually holding that are going to hold this piece in place so you don't end up losing it. And I must say, the way that MST actually did these axles, pretty nice. I will admit. I have got to say, they did one heck of a job with these axles. The instructions are a little finicky. For the front axles, the way that they explain some things, I actually had to put everything together. Hey, how you doing? So for the front axles, I actually had to put everything together first, just to see how it was working out, because there was just some things that it was saying to do that wasn't making any sense on how they were explaining to put it together. But luckily, you're able to put everything together, see how it all works, and then take everything back apart and do it the right way. So that's what I ended up doing with this. Now, I do have the rear axle done and the front, and now as we'll be able to see, so that's going to go like so. And you know, guys, that's the perfect size. It is the absolute perfect size that I needed for this project. So, I mean, without further ado, that's pretty much all I have for you for today. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell so you can follow up on this project. This is a project that I have been wanting to do for a long time. Basically, ever since I began the Hummer. I actually ordered these when I was still working on the Hummer, and it took about 2.5 to 3 months to come in. So this has been quite a long wait to get these in, but I'm excited to get this project started. So guys, hit that like button, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.